In this episode of Deep Six.
Make a perception check.
17.
17. The furniture itself seems to be heavily scarred and marked. These seem to be very specifically look like nail or clawing marks at on the bedpost and near the headboard, as well as around the edges of some of the smaller furniture in the room.
Fuck's sake.
In addition,
This is so what do you mean in addition?
Every night I close my eyes, wonder where I go when I die. Underneath the surface I hear voices, just keep on pushing me down, trying to get to heaven, but it's all hell. And every day I wake up I still wonder if I'm dead or alive. 6 feet deep, deep six, sitting in the middle of heaven and hell. And every day I wake up I still wonder if I'm dead or alive. You know I'm undercover, underground.
Nemessia. Following the events of getting back into the theater, each of you and your compatriots took some time to yourselves in your own rooms of the Gilded Mask. After about an hour or so, it's not necessarily a door, it's just a bit of a curtain. So there's a knock just outside of your curtain. Just kind of gentle.
Well, do come in.
The curtain slowly moves aside, and it is Argent. She is dressed much differently from the last time that you saw her. She's kind of plain street clothes, and she hands you a pile of clothing as well and says, "Put these on. I need your assistance. Meet me in the causeway when you are finished." And as you look through the stack of what she gives you, they're just essentially kind of darkened street clothes. Like it's nothing, out of the ordinary, but there is kind of a darker black cloak with it as well. And once you're dressed and beginning to leave, you are met by Alice as well. And Alice says, "I'm glad you're here. I wanted to give you this." And she hands you a small sheath, as it were. And so this very plainly is just a very elegant, very slender stiletto dagger, very easily concealed, that you can see nothing out of the ordinary about it, other than just very well made and built for purpose. So you slide that into your belt as well. Upon meeting Argent in the closeway, she says, "I have a matter, I believe, that is in need of some delicate hands. Follow me." And as you follow her out of the footlights and towards the center of town, so this would be the furthest that you have gone from the Gilded Mask. And so she walks with a rather brisk pace. And so trying to keep up with her is not easy. Could you roll for me? Let's just make it dexterity for now, just to try to keep your feet on these cobblestone streets and in a place where you're not familiar.
15.
Okay, so yeah, 15, you're able to keep right on her heels, but you're kind of having a look around as you go, passing through a couple of areas which are distinct from the footlights themselves. So you're passing over bridges and canals. You do see there are water taxis, which look like they are manned by automatons who share the visage of Charon and are reminiscent of that kind of theology of, death and the river Styx and that kind of thing, but quite clearly in an almost theme park-esque way, that there are multiples of them and people just seem to be using them as part of their daily travel. You guys don't take one of those, but rather pass over the bridges using a series of everything from purposely built, footpaths and things which are quite crowded and people bumping into you. And then at one point you actually pass over just some kind of makeshift plinths that were there. So you do feel like that you're following someone who knows their way around the city and is very familiar with moving in ways where you get the feeling from Argent that she never takes the same path twice. Right?
Okay.
You begin to move through a very busy marketplace, and it becomes more and more difficult to try to keep up with her. People passing in front of you with different goods or things which are distracting from one side to the other. People hawking wares. You begin to get a little bit behind her in step, and she's kind of looking over her shoulder, and then suddenly she's a few steps to the left or a few steps to the right and becoming more and more distant from you. Can you roll a perception check for me?
9.
9. Okay. All right. So again, she gets even further from you. So the market is louder, voices overlapping in a dozen languages, coins clinking, fabric snapping in the breeze. Somewhere, something metallic rings out in a rhythm that refuses to settle in your mind. Argent moves ahead of you with calm precision, her pace unhurried but relentless, and she's slipping through the crowd as though it parts for her out of curiosity or courtesy alone. She does not look back. She never needs to. As you follow, at first it's easy, but then the press tightens. Your shoulder bumps you. A cart rolls past too close. Someone laughs sharply in your ear. Not too loud, but just enough for you to look off to the side. Argent is still there, but then she isn't. Not gone, just further ahead than she should be. The crowd begins to swallow you in the space. Can you roll a Constitution save for me?
Oh, yeah. Is 7.
Okay. Your breath catches. The sounds blur together, stretching and warping like you're hearing the market through water. The ground feels unsteady beneath your feet, and the sunlight begins to kind of hit you in the eyes and disorient you a little bit. The ground feels unsteady beneath your feet. Your fingers curl instinctively, and for a moment, the city tilts. The market is smaller, older, sunlight instead of lantern light, and your hand slips away from another, warm, familiar, gone in an instant. You turn. Your mother's back disappears between bodies too tall, too fast. You try to call out, but your voice is lost in that noise. The world feels suddenly enormous and hostile and wrong. You remember the panic first. Certainly that if you stop moving, you will vanish. Your chest tightens. A sharp intake of breath brings you back. The market is still here in Verdencia. The noise is still crushing. Your vision tunnels. Your heartbeat is suddenly very loud, too loud. And for half a second, you're certain that you're about to disappear again. And then a hand grips your wrist. Not tight, just enough. Argent stands beside you now, close enough that the noise seems to bend around her. Breathe. Not a command, but a reminder. She does not ask what you saw. She does not apologize for leaving you behind. She simply waits. Slowly, the city settles back into place. Your breath evens. Your vision clears. Argent releases your wrist. You must keep your eyes up, she says quietly. Verdencia does not slow down for anyone. She turns to continue on. As you follow, your gaze catches on a nearby wall, half hidden behind a spice stall and a torn banner. There, painted in stark white against a soot-dark stone, is a piece of graffiti. Plague mask. Smooth, expressionless, feathered wings spread behind it. The paint is old, layered, reapplied, touched up carefully over time. Beneath it, an elegant, deliberate script. Even light casts a shadow. For a moment, no longer, you feel the same sensation that you did as a child. Not fear, recognition. Then someone passes in front of it and the image is gone from view. Argent never stops walking, never acknowledges. The market swallows you both, and Verdencia carries on as if nothing has happened. Eventually, you come to the edge of the marketplace. She brings you into an area, and she tells you it's known as Chandelier Court. And you see a large, almost Gothic mansion on one side of the courtyard, a wrought iron courtyard adjacent to, looks to be some sort of an institution, and then a large kind of opera house on the opposing side from the mansion. And in the middle, very run down but prominent statue top of a fountain, which seems to have two sides to it. of the light and dark motifs that you see kind of running through the city. One side appears to be almost angelic, while the other one has a demonic feature to it. She tells you that as you walk towards the mansion side, not up to it, but enough that you can be observing it in conversation over one shoulder while you guys are just speaking there. There are others within the marketplace. It is relatively busy, so much to the point where you see there are markets and stalls being moved around because there's some sort of commotion at the far end of the marketplace. There is a city watch or a police presence over there. You can't see what the reason for that is without going to the other side of the courtyard, but Argent doesn't seem to be worried about it at the moment, and it's clear because of how she's kind of placed you looking over her shoulder that she wants your attention to the mansion. And she says that this is the home of Halvard Wainwright. He is suspected of being linked to a series of possible infractions, not only of the things deemed inappropriate in the eyes of the courts, but also in the eyes of, we'll just say, in the eyes of the agency. I want you to infiltrate this man's home, and I want you to find proof of whatever it is that he's been up to. There are lives and souls at stake, and it's up to us to make sure that whatever is going on here is something which can be brought to light to the courts and to either of the factions which may be responsible. She reaches around you and pulls a cloak over your shoulders that she had given you. And she said, time is of the essence. When you feel that you have something or you have enough, don't linger. This man is dangerous. And she brushes the hair from one ear and she places a device around your ear. And she said, when close enough, she says, when friends are near, you will be able to reach them with this. I have another matter that needs attending. When you have what you need, reach out with this and someone will find you. And she kind of steps to one side and you're just staring there at the mansion itself. And it is a grand home. At one time would have been a grand home. It is run down. You don't see anyone. It almost looks abandoned. There are no lights within. You don't see anyone around the property just now. It's kind of covered with a thick hedge and a large gate.
And has she left me alone?
As you look around, there's no one standing near you.
So Nemessia's just kind of looking around and she's going to take a moment and take a breath and just be like, what the fuck is going on in this place? And she's going to steady herself. She's going to take a moment to think about that memory that she had. It felt like a memory where her mother's grasp was there and she's just kind of trying to steady her heartbeat. And she's having a little think as well about that mask that she saw. She then looks up at the mansion and thinks, right, hey, Nemessia, you agreed to this. You can do this. It's going to be fine. And I'm going to walk up I'm going to avoid the front door. I'm going to start kind of walking around the perimeter of the house, of the home, and just see if there's any point of entry that seems to make sense. Maybe like a window that goes down into a basement, or you know, if it looks abandoned, maybe a window that's cracked. Any other doors, side doors that might be for more like, might have been for servants or that sort of thing, but I'm not going to go in through the front. I'm going to try and find a point of entry.
You make your way around the perimeter of the house, and you do see that there are some kind of vents, I guess, in the lower portion of what you would assume to be the foundation of the house. But on the south side, you do find kind of a cellar door entrance as well.
Okay. So I am going to give myself the blessing of the trickster.
Okay.
Before trying to go into the vent.
Remind me what that does.
So what it does is I will have advantage on dexterity checks until our next long rest.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so when I do this, I'm kind of just going to go, and you'll just see that big like sort of smile go right across her face, and she just goes, okay, now I can do this. And yeah, did you say there's like a big vent that I could potentially get into? Is that what I'm looking at?
There is a vent, and there is also the cellar door.
Oh, there's the cellar door, right, okay. In which case, I'm gonna check it and see if it's open or if it's locked.
Okay. It is not locked.
It's not locked, okay. And I'm just gonna open it as quietly as I can.
You enter into the cellar, and there is no one around. You see a variety of tools and things. This is clearly a working space, some gardener's tools and things there. as well as a bit of a caged area, which looks like it is used to house animals of some kind. I see feed and food bowls and things set there, leashes and leads. Could be, a watchdog, could be a variety of things. But doesn't seem to be anything there just now. Nothing that would stand out of interest as well. There are a short series of steps and then another door.
Okay. And does do the things look like they've been moved or messed with recently, or do they look like they've been kind of abandoned for a while? Is there dust?
No, there is a lit lantern in this room as well, so it wasn't dark when you entered. It does look like that the house that someone has been here recently. You're not sure whether it would be serviceman or a maintenance person or something like that.
Okay. The gardening tools that are there, is there like a sort of like one of those you get those wee belts for gardening where you can slip a wee tribble in or something?
Sure, make an investigation check.
Awesome. That's great stuff. Sorry. Oh, I don't even have anything to add to that. It's a 3.
A 3. With a 3, no. You don't see anything of that nature. You do see kind of a gardener's apron, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that pruning shears or something like that? Yeah.
Can I take it?
Sure.
I'm going to put the gardening apron on.
Sure.
And take a wee pair of the shears.
Okay.
Just a bit of cover in
All
case I should need it.
And you have a gardening apron and some shears.
Brilliant. Everything I've ever wanted in D&D. Cool. Okay, so then I'm going to go towards those little steps to leave this this space.
All right. As you approach the door, it is unlocked as far as you can tell.
Okay, so I will open it, but I want to just be very careful about it.
All right, roll a stealth check, and you've got your advantage.
I do, that's right. Good. No. I will take the first one, a 10.
So you go to open the door, and it opens about 3 or 4 inches perfectly silently, and then just as loud as you can imagine, and it kind of echoes in the hallway beyond as well. So you stop short and just have a listen. Roll a perception check. Okay, the door that you open, you enter into sort of a grand hallway on the main floor. There is a bit of light coming from the main entrance to the home, as well as filtering through some of the other rooms and pouring into that hallway. It's not very well lit. There are a couple of lanterns lit as well that were dim enough that they didn't show in the daylight from the outside. But it does appear, someone does live here. It's very well kept, but the furniture is very antique, very nice furniture. But it is the kind of thing that you can almost feel the money in this house. This feels like the house of, possibly a statesman or something like that. Someone who's been, part of the community for quite some time. Yeah. You do also notice, you hear humming coming from another part of the house, probably on the same floor as you, and just someone humming lightly, just kind of a light tone.
Okay. So I want to try and stick to any sort of shadow. I don't want to just go brazen down the corridor, but what I'm going to look for is a room that could be a library with a desk in it, or a study, or anywhere where work, papers, documents might be kept.
All right. On the ground floor, as you're kind of walking and having a look, kind of peeking in through the rooms, none of these rooms seem to have doors which close. These seem to be open areas to the household. You see a large dining room with rooms beyond, you would assume, to some sort of butler's pantry or kitchen area. You see a large sitting room with a fireplace, which is currently unlit, but there just seems to be more of a greeting space than it does to be an office. You see a couple of other small rooms, which could be possibly a lavatory, as well as you see the entrance to what you would assume would be the kitchen. There's a grand spiraling staircase, and then a door which you would assume also would lead to, if you hadn't walked around the house itself, you would assume that it leads outside the home. But because you know that there were no other entrances on that side of the house, you would now assume that door would lead either to a stairwell leading up to the other parts of the home as well, or potentially to another basement area.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to have a look and see whether it goes up, whether it goes down.
Okay. So just peeking in through that doorway, you do see that there is a stone stair which leads downward.
Yeah, Nemessia's just going to kind of look back around and make sure that no one's aware of her presence. And I mean, she's here to do a job, so she doesn't want to go down there, but she's down there. Yeah.
Okay. Roll a stealth check for me again.
I'm not going to roll on this. It's giving me bad rolls. It's awful. Oh my goodness. Okay, I get to do that. Okay, a wee bit better. 12.
Okay. So as you take a step down, you hear the voice, what you're assuming is the voice of the person that you heard humming to herself earlier is, Charles, is that you? Do you want to continue downward? It's not coming from downstairs. It's not coming
Oh, it's
from
not coming from downstairs. It's just
It's
around?
coming from the kitchen area.
Right, okay.
But it was cast in your direction.
It was casting, so she kind of knows that there's someone around.
But so,
That's it, yeah. I'm going to continue in the hope that she'll just think, oh, must have been you then.
okay. As you continue down the stair, you enter into another small kind of sub-basement area. But it is not what you expected. They're, looking for some sort of hint at, at Wainwright's movements and the things which he is connected to. This looks like a child's room. This
That's
looks
not
like,
creepy.
I mean, it is, again, just like the other furniture in the house that you saw, is very pristine.
Okay.
Or it maybe was at one time. There seemed to be, again, it's strange that this high level of furniture is in this room, which almost doesn't even have a flooring to it. It's almost a stone or a dirt floor. And it's this mismatch of really antique child's furniture and what looks to be remnants of and scraps of food and metal plates and things. There is a series of kind of toys which look very heavily played with. The furniture itself seems to have, but make a perception check.
17.
17. The furniture itself seems to be heavily scarred and marked. Not necessarily unlike what you would see in any child's room of a certain age. They're a bit destructive, but these seem to be very specifically look like nail or clawing marks at on the bedpost and near the headboard, as well as around the edges of some of the smaller furniture in the room.
Fuck's sake.
In addition,
This is so what do you mean in addition?
one of the walls, there is a large circular shape, which looks to be, the walls in this room, again, are sub-basement stone walls, cold stone walls. But this one particular area looks like fresh mortar. It looks like an almost circular area of patch where this wall has been repaired recently.
Okay.
It appears newer, fresher.
Okay.
Probably 3 or 4 feet in diameter.
Okay. I am going. Okay, I want to inspect that wall.
Okay.
Can I get a sense of how you say it's been repaired? Like, does this feel really like, if there's a way for me to kind of work out, is this really like thick, like, it's been properly bricked up, or is it just been kind of patched up, and potentially could break it again?
I mean, it's relatively new patch. It has been done well, but it's certainly now a weaker point in the wall than it would have been previously when it was just solid stone.
Okay, so I'm going to just take a moment to just look around the room. So these scratch marks and things. Can I have look at kind of under the table and things, see if there's anything like etched, have a look around the bed or anything, just to see if I can see any evidence of the child themselves, like a sense of who it was that was down here, if it even was a child.
Yeah. So without rolling, again, I would let you see a number of kind of antique toys which are around in various states of existence. Some are fine, some are broken, dolls and things like that. But you also find, again, scraps of food and kind of bones of small animals. So like, you know, chickens and things like that, things which would have been served to them.
Okay. So I just want to cast Detect Magic just to see if there's anything else that I can
You don't pick up
Nothing.
anything. No.
Okay, fine. Is that it down here?
That's it.
That's it.
That's
Okay.
all she's-
Okay. Not going to forget about this dodgy wall, but for now, I think if I was to just try and blast this wall to see it, I have a feeling that if this is like a tunnel or a secret entrance to this place. But for now, I'm going to try and creep back up the stairs to go and keep looking for further evidence of.
All right, so you go back up that stair and you're now back in the main hall.
Mhm.
Where do you go from there?
So that was going down. Is there any way to go up
Yeah,
the stairs? Is there a staircase?
there's a large grand stair there, so it's carpeted, kind of a red burgundy carpet all the way up, and it just kind of twists, black ironwood banister.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna sneak very carefully up the stairs. Question above table. Invisibility. Can I cast that on myself?
Yeah.
Sick. Should have done that. Before I go up the stairs and potentially make more noise, I'm gonna cast some invisibility on myself.
Okay, sure.
If I can. Yeah.
Remy?
Will be invisible for up to an hour.
Okay, up to now. Great. All right, so you are invisible and you make your way up the stairway. You can still hear someone working, doing something in the kitchen area. You assume possibly a maid or house attendant of some kind. As you reach the top of the stair, there is what looks to be, again, kind of an open drawing room. There's not a lot in there. There is an empty easel and some art supplies set about. There is, there are lots of tables and things with just vases and kind of decorative items. Again, probably of some value, but nothing too extravagant from, I mean, you grew up in a royal home, so, you're not just super impressed by everything here, but it is just a nice, it is a nice place, I guess, or maybe would have been at one time. You see a large kind of double door mirrored on either side. So there are two sets of these large double doors, and one has a door which is ajar. And looking in that room, you can see it is a large master bedroom. So this bedroom, huge 4-post bed. Again, looks very lavish, but very old as well. There are a couple of things on the nightstand. There are just glass for drinking. There is a bedpan near one of the corners. There is a dressing table as well as a large standing mirror. You do notice that the standing mirror has been broken for some time. Most of the glass is gone out of the mirror, but it's not. You do feel that it wasn't recent because there's no glass around. It just seems like this mirror has been broken at some point and no one bothered to repair. The other door on the other side of the hallway is closed.
So I just would like to do a quick check of if there's any bed tables, like just anything with a drawer that I can have a little root around in. Not even looking for evidence of wrongdoing, but just to try and get a sense of the owner.
This room, it smells like it's quite damp almost. Not in the way that you felt in the basement, but in the way that you feel like maybe the windows haven't been open in here in a very long time. It feels very closed, almost stale kind of sense to the air. The room is rather spartan, almost what you would expect in a rented room. There's not a lot of places to store things. You would almost expect there to be kind of a footlocker or something, but other than the dressing table, there's nothing really there. Inside the drawers of the dressing table, none of them are locked, and you find what you would expect to see in a dressing table. There are some, very neat, very organized kind of pomades and creams and that kind of thing with, for fixing one's hair and tonics and that kind of thing for just kind of freshening one's appearance, but you don't find anything that you wouldn't expect to see there.
So Nemessia's just kind of she doesn't find any of this pleasant, and she's quite dismissive of what she sees as all of these things are just frivolous. So I'm going to go back into the hall, and I'm going to try and have a little listen at that closed door just to see if there's anyone on the other side, or if she can hear anything.
Okay, make a perception check.
Because I'm so good at those. 13.
13. You do not hear anyone on the other side. There is a rather robust brass lock on this door, as there wasn't one on the bed.
Yeah, okay. Let me just check. Do I have anything to pick?
Yes, you do.
Locks? Yes, I do. I'm going to try and pick that lock.
Okay. Well, the sleight of hand, is it?
Yeah. That's 10.
A 10? But you'd have advantage.
Oh,
now?
yes. No, that's still a 10.
Okay. So
You are going in.
So as you're picking this lock, it does open,
Okay.
but it breaks.
Oh, shit.
As it's like you feel one of the prongs kind of go, and this kind of, like everything else in this house, it's been around for a while. And so you are in the room, but you would know that anyone coming back is going to know that this room has been broken into.
Sick. Okay, so I'm going to take the lock pieces and just kind of hide them. Is there just something that I can just kind of kick them under, or just kick them under the bed in the other, just quickly under the bed in the other
There are no
room?
pieces or anything. It was kind of...
Oh, got you. Right,
yeah.
I see.
It's an internal lock.
Okay, understood. Fine, okay. So I'm just going to slip in and just keep myself very close to the door.
Okay. Are you closing the door too behind you?
I will close it behind me, just for anyone that might come down the corridor might not see straight away that there's been...
Right. So you close the door behind. Wainwright's office is immaculately preserved. It is not clean, but preserved. The air smells of old paper, cloves, and something metallic beneath it. Heavy velvet curtains block every window, layered thick enough to swallow the light entirely. There are some low lamps which glow low and warm, positioned carefully so that nothing casts any harsh shadow. There are clocks set up on what looks to be a shelf behind a very ornate desk. There are 3 or 4 there, and then you kind of start picking them up around the room as you're looking around. So every clock in the room, different styles, different eras, frozen at different times, because none of the room is silent. You don't hear any of them ticking or moving. That's all that you notice from just standing in the doorway there.
There's no one in here with me, so I'm gonna first go straight for the desk to see if there's anything scattered upon it or anything that I can take a look at and read.
Okay, so again, you see a couple of more kind of small clocks. Now that you're closer to them, you see they don't show signs of any mechanical failure, right? It's like they were stopped, So they're either unwound or they are just not being used in that way. Any that have a pendulum, they have been purposefully latched so that they're not moving. A crystal decanter sits on the desk, partially filled with red wine. There is a glass next to the decanter, which seems to be stained in a similar color. It is empty, but clearly is something which is of use. There are ledgers lining the shelves, and almost like you would see in an arbiter's office or in someone dealing with the courts. You see these kind of glass-covered bookcases, files and ledgers of all descript with handwritten markings and dates and things on them. All the same handwriting, same signature. There is, different things which you see, there's a very ornate letter opening set, that kind of thing. Dozens of candles burn throughout the room. There is a large candelabra on the corner of the desk. Make another perception check.
9.
9. this strikes strange to you that the candles and things which are essentially lighting this room as the sole source of light, they're burning, but they are not burned down at all. So there's no wax dripping. They seem to be burning very slowly. You're not sure how long Wainwright has been out of his office, but you know that it is strange to A, leave candles burning, and B, that they're not burning down. They're staying full.
Just out of interest, is there any, looking at the clocks that have been stopped, is there any sort of correlation between the time that they've been stopped at?
They're
or is
all
it
different
random?
times.
Okay. Fine. So I'm gonna go and look to those ledgers. I'm gonna look for one that is. Do I know what date it is? Do I know when it is? In general, here in Verdensia?
No.
No, I've no idea.
Nope.
Is it the same date system? Like, if I was to look at a date,
You have
I have
no
idea.
idea.
Okay, in which
You know that it is daytime.
it,
It is. It is roughly.
Light.
You would think.
okay,
Late, late morning to early afternoon.
sure, okay. Yeah, we're quite. Okay, in which case I'm just going to take a ledger at random and take it over to the candlelight and open it and see if I can make any sense of what's written.
Okay. So the ledgers which you see are from a variety of things. The ones which you have chosen seem to be the most recent. It is one of the only shelves which is unlocked, the one directly behind, and they seem to be files associated with an orphanage,
Oh my god.
which put to your recollection as you were coming in the facility adjacent to this home.
Yeah, so
You would know that that would be the orphanage, or would assume that that's the orphanage. But these files are what you would expect: expenses, what little pay is being given to those taking care of the children at the orphanage, as well as the money which is coming into the orphanage. It doesn't take a banker to point out the very obvious fudging of the books
Sure.
that is going on, where the monies which are being paid to this orphanage by the city itself are not being put to use the way they should be for these children.
yes.
That he is skimming off the top. He's pocketing money for himself.
Can I see the names of any donors aside from, say, city, what would be the council or whatever? Is there any like private donations being made by anyone or any names that are sticking out?
Many private donations and certain events which have been held as well to raise funds for the orphanage. But you don't see any names which kind of stick out at you
Sure.
for any reason. But yeah.
Okay, so clear fudging of the books, fine. I'm going to put the ledger back where I found it, unless there's any, like, are there any, like, random slips of paper, like, in there, hidden in amongst the pages, or anything else aside from just this constant scroll of donations and money in and out?
Okay. So as you're putting it back, it's supposed to be dexterity again. Roll a dex check.
Okay. I love how I picked up my eraser. That'll probably give me a better result, let's be honest. Jeez, 10.
Okay. As you're putting this leather-bound ledger back, your wrist kind of bumps the shelf itself, and the bottom of that shelf drops slightly.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is another ledger or another book which has been hidden in kind of a little secret hideaway there under the shelf.
Sure. Can I access it from how the shelf is
absolutely.
fallen? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely going to take
Okay.
that out and have a nosy.
So this one is thinner than the other ones which you've seen, and it's almost more of kind of a paperish, multi-use kind of booklet. And you can see on the front that there are there's kind of a place for you to fill in a name or something like that. So it does have the kind of a hand-drawn picture of that orphanage on the front. And so very quickly as you open this, you realize that these are medical records from the orphanage. And so hidden beneath this false shelf, the information which is kept in this medical record are for specifically you see certain pages earmarked. So it's not just, regular physician checkups and things like that, but earmarked you have is lineages and different markers of traits as well as blood type. And you see, looking at each child going down this list, you see handwritten notes scrawled in the side. Suitable. Delicate.
Oh my God.
Non-viable.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of different ones, some scrawled through, marked out. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. But it looks like these are records which he's not going through checking on these children for their well-being.
Yeah.
He is checking them not for care, but it's almost as if he has a need for them, which you are not sure of at this point, but almost as if he is checking for their compatibility.
Sure. So I am going to take this. I want to hide it on my person somehow, whether I'm going to slip it in the back of my trousers, under the cloak or something. I want to take it with me. I also want to somehow, just having a look at what I've got in my inventory, I want to take a small sample of this wine, just on a hunch that it ain't wine. So I want to somehow get... so here's my thought, right? No, I'm absolutely not. I want to take a sample of this stuff back with me, just on a hunch that it's, I have holy water in my inventory,
Okay.
which is in a flask. So I want to somehow dump the holy water and pour some of this stuff in the flask. Is there anywhere in the room, maybe a corner or something, where I could just pour the holy... I mean, this
Sure.
place needs some holy water anyway, let's be honest. So I'm going to go to the corners, all the corners of the room, and I'm going to slightly sprinkle some holy water around
Okay.
here and be like, may you go to fucking hell. And sprinkle it. And then I'm going to take the flask that it came in, and I'm going to pour from the decanter,
Okay.
some of that wine into it.
So you've seen a lot of blood
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
lifetime. And this is not thick like what you would expect,
Mm-hmm.
but without a doubt, when you open that decanter, you smell the almost iron quality that it has, and even just the swill that it has in that crystal decanter. You know for a fact that this is blood. It might be cut with wine or with water or something else, you're not sure, but this is definitely human blood.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna take the small amount though, so that it doesn't make the decanter noticeably emptied, but enough that you could take a sample from it. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna hide that amongst myself. Is there anything else I can do to absolutely fuck with this guy? Probably not without revealing myself. Fine. So, I mean, I've spread the holy water. I've got the sample. I'm taking the ledger. I'm not going to push it, and I'm going to leave.
Okay. Make a perception check for me.
Okay. Okay, it's better. 17.
Okay, with a 17, you hear the front door open to the house below. And you hear a gentleman's voice, and you hear him call for someone. You can't really make out who he's calling for, but you would assume the house attendant. And then as he's getting closer and closer to where you think maybe the bottom of the stair, his voice becomes clearer and then louder as you realize he is coming up the stairs as he's speaking.
Of course he is.
And he's saying, I really must get ready for this evening's. Please do not disturb me. Do make sure that he's fed properly. I don't want another incident like last time. That wall is not going to hold forever. And you hear his footsteps as he's coming up to the top of the stair, and you hear the creak of the door opposite of the office. So you know now that he's going into his bedroom. You do not hear the door close, but you hear him kind of rummaging around in the dressing cupboard perhaps, or he's doing something in the bedroom adjacent to you.
Okay. So I am going to sneak towards the door because I closed the door behind me, didn't I? I'm going to try and just peek out.
Yeah, open the door?
Like, tiny bit, just to see if he's in the room enough for me to potentially slip out of the office.
Okay. So you open the door just a crack and peer across, and you see as he is kind of laying out clothes on the bed and trying to make a decision, and you hear him kind of muttering to himself. It's like, if people had any idea how difficult it is to stay civilized, and he's just kind of putting things in place, holding them up in the no, then discarding them. You kind of watch him for a few moments, and then he kind of looks at his creation of his ensemble and says, yes, I think that will do nicely. And he turns almost on a heel and walks directly towards you.
Then I'm gonna...
You feel invisible.
Yeah, I am still invisible. Okay. Do I have time to slip, like, out of the door just as he's walking towards it? Maybe not, because I would have to...
He would see the door open.
Yeah, he'd see the door open. No, okay, I'm going to just step back, leave the door as is, but I'm going to just, like, if the door's here, if he would come through it, I'm going to kind of step into this corner here so that he would come in to the office, but I would be in the corner, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. So you kind of step back just to the side to one of the corners nearest the door, or back?
Yeah, so like if I'm coming through a door, just the corner right there.
Kind of step to the side, and you hear him kind of almost stop suddenly as he realizes that the door is open, but as he was going to insert a key, which is now obviously not needed, and he's kind of inspecting the door itself. He puts the key in the lock anyway. And he says, what? Someone has been in here? And then he's fiddling with the key and realizing that the lock is broken. And he shouts back down the stair, He says, who has been in my quarters? No one is allowed in my office. And he's just kind of leaves the key in the lock and is again muttering to himself, this place is almost as old as I am, falling apart. And he just leaves it and then goes to his desk area as well. And you watch as he sits in a very large ornate chair and pours himself glass from the decanter. He kind of holds it up, gives it a swill, returns to pouring the glass, and then just kind of sits back and is looking out into the room, or maybe just in thought as he is sipping this glass. And then he stands up with the glass again, walks around the desk, and is just kind of pacing in the room a bit. Moves one of the curtains to the side, peering out into the courtyard below. Goes back over to the door, closes it.
Fuck. That's what I was waiting for my moment of like, and I leave. Okay, sure.
Remind me, did you put the ledger back?
No, I've got it.
The medical ledger?
Yeah, I've got it.
Did you close?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, technically not. Should have done that.
So it is hanging open.
I suppose so, because, yeah, in my mind.
So he's kind of pacing back and forth, and he's kind of looking around the room, and he stops as he's looking back, and the glass from his hand drops and breaks on the floor. But he doesn't move, and you just hear him. Some sniffs. This is terribly rude not to announce oneself when in the presence of one's elders. And we'll leave you there just for a moment.
Yeah, all I want to do is kill this motherfucker.
I was basically...
Yeah, I
wall.
grab something.
No, I hate wall.
Yeah, I know. I don't like the wall. I really want to just blast the wall open. I just think everyone in the house is going to hear that, so...
The fuck really.
I'm now I have to kill him, let's be honest, so it's fine.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of Daggers and Drams. Thank you for spending your time with us, whether you're listening on your commute, painting minis, or rolling dice at your very own table. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, or following the podcast wherever you listen. We'd also like to give special thanks to everyone who helps to make this show possible. Your support means more than you know. If you want to keep up with us between episodes, you can find Daggers and Drams on YouTube, Instagram, and other platforms. As always, thanks for being a part of this journey with us. Until next time, pour yourself a dram, roll your dice, keep on telling great stories.
I still wonder if I'm dead or alive. 6 feet deep, deep 6, sitting in the middle of heaven and hell. And every day I wake up, I still wonder if I'm dead or alive. You know I'm undercover, underground.